You may hear today that the Iraqi war cost America $3 trillion. $3 trillion that's a bogus Democrat talking point. They're kicking that number around. It's wrong. The Congressional Budget Office says Iraq cost us somewhere between, cost us $709 billion is what the Congressional Budget Office says. So 9 years, $709 billion is what it cost. And I want to stress that because what it means is the Iraq war didn't even cost as much as Obama's failed stimulus. And I think this is really something that needs to be pointed out. It, at least in part, it starts to put the size of the stimulus blunder into perspective. The left wants to claim Bush blew $1 trillion on a war. Well, it was a war that kept us safe from terror attacks at home and all but eradicated Al-Qaeda. And it still cost less than Pelosi and Obama's stimulus package, which got us nothing. That was $800 billion wasted. To think we could have used that money so many other ways. I mean, it's just shameful. But it brings into focus a blunder. What a blunder that stimulus was. And it brings into focus a blunder that alone should keep Obama from being reelected. The stimulus was such a gargantuan blunder, it's criminal. He should be locked up for it, not reelected. But $709 billion is what the Iraq war cost. That means it didn't even cost as much as his stimulus. And the Washington Examiner crunches some numbers today. And they say that if you look back at our overall government spending during the course of the war, from 2003 when it started till today, 2010 or 2011, when you look back at the overall spending, you realize that the Iraq war, though it cost $709 billion, was a small fraction of expenditures, because it was spread out over 9 years. Other findings, they say, Obama's stimulus passed in the first month in office will cost more than the entire Iraq war, about $100 billion more, or 15% more. Just the first 2 years of Obama's stimulus cost more than the entire cost of the Iraq war under President Bush, or 6 years of that war. Iraq war spending accounted for just 3.2% of all federal spending while it lasted. Iraq war was not even 1/4 of what we spent on Medicare at the same time frame. So the point is that the left wants to point to the Iraq war as some sort of huge, awful expense. And really, because it was an expense that was spread over 9 years, and because it was an expense that it was really a small fraction, because we're spending so much, we're spending $3 trillion, it was actually a small expense, relatively. That's the point they're trying to make. Then you take a $1 trillion stimulus package and you shoot $800 billion, to be fair to Obama. You take an $800 billion stimulus package and you shoot all that money out over 2 years. That's a massive crippling expense. So when you hear this nonsense about how costly and crippling the Iraq war was to the American budget, you'll know it's nonsense, and that's why I note it now. At least the war in Iraq kept us safe from terror attacks and knocked out Al-Qaeda. The stimulus plan was $800 billion, just wasted. We have nothing to show for it. The entire Iraq war didn't cost us what Obama just threw into the wind, gone to no effect.